welcome today again to one of our Motor Trade Mentor podcasts. Today it's myself, James Alford, Sir Theo Cook, freshly knighted, and a young gentleman, Mr. Jonathan Chorley Burdett, from near the it's Bournemouth area, isn't it? You're in?
Yeah, right in Bournemouth, right next to the airport and the train station if you're coming down.
Fantastic. Right. So what I'm going to do is, as per normal, I'm going to give you the opportunity to tell us a little bit about you and your business and a brief oversight of your journey, and then we'll poke you for some more information and we'll take it from there. So fire away.
Sure. Well, it all started sort of the later part of 2023. I got into a sort of spot bobber financially, and I needed to make sure I was going to be looked after. And I thought, well, all the toys I've got, I don't really need them anymore. So I sold them all, panicked, realised I didn't really need to do that. But in the meantime, I had bought a little car. It was a Volkswagen EOS, and it had a huge dent down the side of it. Paid about £1,000 for it. And then I realised that I didn't need that car. I was okay financially, and I could go and buy myself something flashy again. So I'd done that, and I thought, I'm going to sell this thing, and I made £700 profit. So, and then from there, that's how it all started. So the whole business started from a small injection of cash of £1,000. And then I thought, I'm going to do this, change your career completely. I was a kitchen designer before. I'd always sort of dabbled in and out of cars. I'm a huge petrol head. And then it just grew and grew and grew. And then from one car, it turned to two cars. This was obviously all from my driveway. And then that turned into something that was a bit sort of more profitable than actually working. And it gave me more freedom. And then I just sort of kept rolling with it. Thought, do I just do trade to trade? Because I could sell a couple of cars to the trade. And I thought, no, I'm going to do it properly, do it myself. And then come the end of 2024, I then opened up SVM Automotive. Don't ask me what it stands for, because I'm still trying to work that out myself. I just like the abbreviation. Some people say sexy vehicle marketplace. I don't know, something like that. And then I moved into a little pitch. And the pitch I moved into was quite scary, as it is taking on your first little site, but it was only £400 a month. It was nothing. Now I think about my overheads now, I think, well, I wish it was £400 a month still. And then that was an 8-car pitch, and it just took off, and it went really, really well. And you're going to hate this, James, but Auto Trader Package really worked for me. It went really, really well. Sold quite a few cars within my first, well, and I say quite a few cars relative to what I could stock. So I was twice my stock turn every month. And that kind of has been the way it's been ever since. Then I moved into the little polytunnel that I'm in now. I'll say little polytunnel, it's quite a large polytunnel. And it's just been sort of booming ever since. Really, really good. But there's obviously things that I'd like to talk about that might help me grow even further.
I want to clarify, reference the Auto Trader thing. I don't have an issue with the Auto Trader and how it works. And I do actually quite like their platform, early doors for people starting up. I don't have anything against that. It's what they do once you're going that gets people, that cripples people. You end up working for them. That's the bit.
Yeah, no, I do.
Proper grind my gears.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, that's my only gripe. This, like when you're starting up, like Mustard, like happy days, you know, do whatever they need to do. I can't fault that. And I can't suggest a better alternative. I can suggest a decent alternative, but I can't suggest a better alternative. So from that side of it, that's fine. So just to go back on some numbers here. So you said you had a Volkswagen EOS in 2022.
The car was an old car. And then I bought that from a neighbour, and then that was where it all sort of started from. So yeah.
And you started that in 2022, yeah?
Yeah, 2020, what was it, 2022? No, it was 2023. And then it was the end of 2023. I then ended up selling from my driveway all the way through to the end of 2024. It was literally almost within a few days of being a year. And then it moved into being SVM as an actual registered as a proper thing. Obviously, I had to backdate everything and so on.
So you've gone from doing it on your driveway to having a small pitch to having a bigger pitch within sort of
correct
4 months.
Yeah, that's right. So unfortunately, the first pitch I moved into was I wasn't really allowed to do what I was doing there. It was a couple of garages and a small little driveway patch in front, and it was in a residential type area. So unfortunately, someone didn't like it. They reported it to the council, and I got kicked out.
And where did the whole farm polytunnel? Let's have a look.
A really good friend of mine, a guy called Ross at Rotate. He's a motorcycle dealership, and he's on this farm with me as well. It's a landscaping company that owns this farm. It's not a farm. It's a posh sort of business park type place. And he said, well, the polytunnel's come up. Literally just got an email the day that I had been looking for. So it was like fate to move in. I went down, saw it, thought, I'll get loads of cars in there. Turns out I don't get anywhere near as many as I thought I'd get in here because cars are a bit bigger when they're in the space. But it's worked out extremely well. And I'm really thankful for having that contact, because if it wasn't for him being there, I wouldn't have known about this place. It's not something that gets advertised. It's something of, if you know someone who knows people, you'll be able to get a spot.
They're the best. They're the best ways to get.
It keeps the overheads low. It does mean that I can obviously then put money into other things that are going to help me grow. Like the Auto Trader package with the pricing that's at, it sort of helps justify being able to spend that.
So how many cars can you get? How many cars can you get in there? Can we have a look?
Yeah. So inside, I can get 15 cars in total. So I won't go too far because my tethering off of my phone will disconnect. But we can get 5 down each side, and then you can get another sort of 4 to 5 potentially on the inside. And I've also got a small patch just outside where I can do the valeting and everything. I've now finally got an on-site valeter, which will take probably about another 4 cars. And then I have just taken on the large, decent part of land next door to me as well, which I'm having an office built next month. So I won't be sat inside the polytunnel, which is roasting in the summer and it's freezing in the winter.
So you're really going.
Yeah.
Trajectory is fast and hard.
Yeah, I think it's the best way to grow.
James would like that philosophy. Go for it, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I do. So I think you've got like a brief sort of couple of questions that you want to run through us with, haven't you? So you want to talk to us about the FCA and social media advertising about online.
Yeah.
What would you like to know?
Well, first of all, with the FCA side of things, so I know that the part of social media advertising, if I was going to be boosting any posts or anything, I believe that you've got to be, giving something out as a message there. It's no point in me just advertising the car. I don't see it's going to do a lot. Whereas it's more, I've seen a few of the traders are doing like the finance package that, have this car for £200 a month and only have to put in £1,000 or something like that. That's where I see where I definitely need to go FCA. But I'm wondering, is it worth going FCA? Is there a tipping point where it makes sense? That sort of thing.
Given your stock profile, so I'm going to share this on the old interwebs now. Hopefully it works. This was crap last time. I really fucked it up. Right, so hopefully this is the magical. Can we see that?
We can see it.
You'll learn it. Obviously, we've got your lovely website here. We've got some very nice vehicles. So probably I'd say every single vehicle here should have a finance example on it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. They're all financeable vehicles. Aston Martin, I could explain to you what types of finance. You could do different types of finance on that one, depending. If you're more than likely to sell to a business, I would have thought something like that one. That's a company director's car there. But we'll circle back round to that one.
Looking at the rest of it, John, I guess that's your smoker, is it, that one?
No, so I've used it. I took it to the Cotswolds the other day, but other than that, it gets parked up to make the others look better. So I will drive around in that, but not too frequently because I don't want to keep washing it. I want to keep the miles low on it. I've got a viewing on it on Friday, and he seems pretty hot to trot.
Oh, good.
Okay. Hopefully he's not a subscriber, because I'm going to go into some detail on that one in a minute for you.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's an absolute no-brainer. With that stock profile, you'd be absolutely batshit crazy not to have an FCA license. I'll tell you off the chat where the easiest way to get it done is. I don't believe it's the right thing to do is to go and pay for somebody else to do it for you.
Right, because that is, in a way, that was one of the questions that I need answered.
I think you just need to do a deal with a brokership, and the brokers will help you do it. And like I said, gentleman's agreement, if you do a deal with them, they'd expect business in return. There's no contract. You can do whatever you want, but that's what we'd expect. That's what they'd expect. And that's the cheapest way of doing it. And I believe it's also the most efficient because they're motivated to get it done.
Yeah.
They've got, they've got skin in the game.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you pay for somebody to do it, once you've paid the initial upfront fee, there's no motivation to get it done. It can drag on 6 months, no bother to them. You paid them.
That's what I was worried about. Yeah, because I've heard, so Ross at Rotate, that's the sort of same thing that happened. He said it took it 6 months to get set up, and right at the beginning of his trading, and he was able to do newer stock. So his customers were wanting finance. I've been quite fortunate. I've worked with a couple of the brokers, as you'll probably all have as well, and they're all well and good, but you don't get any real commission off the back of it. And also you're not in control. I would like to be able to underwrite the agreement so I can sit here with my customers and actually do the full agreement for it.
If you're taking on that extra, if you're going to that big pitch very shortly, as soon as you fill it, you want to be selling finance as soon as, don't you? So
yeah. Just one other extra question whilst we're on the website bit here. Is there a reason why you don't facilitate people with autism on your website? I.e., why are all the cars pointing in different directions?
So it's because I'm I did used to do photography ages ago, and as a hobbyist of photography, I'm very particular about how those pictures look. And unfortunately, if I've got one that's on the right side and the sun was in the wrong place when I took those pictures, they've got to be, then it looks better on the left side. So that's the reason why there's a little bit of a mix.
Do it again. Freak people out, that will.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, they will.
I've got all the angles. The angles are there, but
change it.
For someone who's very, very annoying OCD.
It's not. Like the problem you've got is if your website looks untidy, not synchronized, people assume that you're untidy. You're not, because we've just had a look at you around your unit and we can see the pictures of the cars. But if that's how you present it, people assume that you're untidy. If you can't be bothered to get everything in a line, what's the rest of your life going to be like? That's their perception. I'm just telling you what the people say.
Yeah.
Like that is, if you notice, a lot of motor, we had one a little while ago where I had someone that was like taking all the cars, like they lined them up in the same way, but each car was like slightly more on the piss. I'm like, mate, you look like you were wankered when you did that. Like, you've got these lovely photos, and there's signs that you've got some photography skills there. Just line them up. So it will make things look better and more presentable. But that's my.
To be fair, when I spoke to one of the reps at Auto Trader, he did also mention about changing the pictures fairly, not too frequent, but frequent enough. So I don't want it they're always going to be on that sort of front quarter.
Yeah. Ignore them. They don't have a fucking clue what they're doing.
You want to be careful because the missus is sat behind the camera.
Sorry, they don't have a clue what they're doing.
No, she's good as gold.
I bet they love you to go onto the super pack for life.
Yeah.
That's so she's not an Auto Trader rep, is she?
That's the logical next step. Yeah, they said, look, there's only so far you're going to go organically. Then
don't do it.
Spend some money. No, I agree with you. I don't think I will. When you first join up, they put you on the promotions to go to the enhanced package. It then sort of automatically stays on the enhanced package. They just charge you more. But I told them, no, I'll go down to the standard. Standard's been absolutely the same with no difference at all. Not that I can really do a proper comparison because I haven't been on it for years, but it didn't make any difference. It's not worth it.
So, are you happy with that reference, the FCA system?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear the conversation after when we can talk about, maybe a place where
it's very simple. Like I would probably go for a Code Weavers platform, and one of the finance companies will assist you. Some of them contribute towards it. I'll say some names. So Octane Finance, Motion Finance, they'll all get involved. They'll help you. They're all very, very good people and they're very motivated for you to succeed. So, that's a huge thing for you. And that's the route that I would go down.
Okay. So you write one of them down as well.
And they're not afraid to take a call off you as someone without an FCA license. They'll go, right, if you want to be part of a journey together, we'll do it together. We'll get after it. And that'll be a big thing for you guys.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do personally. And luckily for us, obviously we haven't got any affiliations with anybody. So we speak as we find, we're not paid by anyone to do anything.
Experience. Yeah. No, I like that. I'll be straight on that today.
And they're relatively close to you guys as well. So, and I think you've got, it's Car Dealer 5 website you've got at the moment, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah. I wasn't sure a lot of people actually commented.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. A lot of people say that they really like my website, but it is only their basic one. I pay about 50 quid for it. So it's not a huge expense. I'd love to have a nice flashier website, but I don't think it's going to make any difference to how many cars I sell.
I completely disagree with you.
Really? Okay.
And Theo's joined Club 67 now. I've got both my businesses on 67 Degrees, massive data nerd. The integration with Google is, in my opinion, okay, and I'm a data guy, in my opinion, by looking at the data, it is chalk and cheese. So they're another level ahead, especially the integrations with the finance. But again, we're not paid by anyone to give you this information, but that's as speak as I find their backroom system is absolutely fantastic and it really works for me. Theo's changed over. He doesn't know yet, but he's about to experience excellence.
Hopefully.
So, and quite a few of us have changed over.
I say I don't ever go onto the back end of Car Dealer 5. It's just that's the website. It gets fed through by, I use Dealer Kit for my DMS and it just gets fed through from there. So I don't actually, I don't use it at all. So maybe if I had something that I thought, there's some useful information in there, I might use it.
Yeah, well, it's a lot to do with the Google Ads as well. They do all the Google Ads stuff in the background. And when we do our Facebook adverts, we meta tag the Facebook link of the website to there. So it's a big round robin and it all connects itself.
Right.
And their system facilitates that, which some websites don't. I'm not going to say anything unpleasant about Car Dealer 5 because I used to be a customer of them and they were excellent to me when I was with them. But there is always a train. There's always a way that you can go up a hill. And I think personally, they're just a bit further up the hill. And with your spec of cars, I realistically think you need to upgrade it. Having it looking nice on a desktop of a computer is great, but 90% of your customers will view it on a phone.
Mobile. Yeah.
Their website on a mobile phone or a tablet is again superior.
Right. And then you couple that with the FCA sort of being able to offer the financing. It looks all a lot better on there because I know friends that are in the trade that they can be sat there in the middle of the night and then the finance proposal comes up all approved and they've sold a car when they're sleeping.
There's no better feeling, actually. You wake up at 6 a.m, or James wakes up at 5 a.m. and sends me a message sometimes.
Yeah.
And you look on your email and it'll be, sold. And you've not had to really do anything about it. So
yeah, I do like that idea. I'm going to, so what was it, 67 degrees or 66?
67 degrees. I mean, I've literally just agreed to sign with them this week after hearing some really strong recommendations. More because the Google side of things is going to be big, and I sort of want to be not ahead of the game because there's already people like James who are ahead of the game. We've been doing it for a little bit longer, but I want to be there when it strikes, and I think they're going to be the guys to forge forward with it.
I've heard Google are coming into the motor trade space more with the shopping panel at the top and all that sort of stuff. And I think if you're one of the later ones to it, the way the algorithms work, they always favour the first and the longest standing.
Well, they're already there. They've been in America for 2 years now. They beated everything in America. It's been exceptionally successful over there. We always get everything 2 years behind America. They've completed it. It's now integrating into us. Obviously, certain companies have already figured that out and got everything in place. And realistically, whatever you need to do, you need to be pinning your tail on the donkey that's already ahead of the race. So, like I said, there are other companies out there, but those are the ones that we know of that are doing it right and are ahead of the game.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'll definitely check those.
I'll pop a pin in that one. So, I'm pretty happy with the best that I don't think we can go any more into the FCA stuff. With that, I think get an FCA license, and you need to start now immediately. Doesn't matter where you're trading from now. Start the ball rolling. Get an FCA license. It will take you 6 months. If it's any sooner, happy days. But whatever they ask you to do it. Do it right. Do it once.
Yeah.
That's what I can give you for that one.
I'll take that.
Vehicle preparation.
Yes.
That's the next thing I think we've got a topic for. You are anxious that you might be over prepping your vehicles. Is this correct?
It's so hard, isn't it? Because some cars, they won't take a lot of prep at all. Other cars, they take a lot of prep. And I use an independent workshop, but they do a lot of just my cars. There's some weeks he doesn't even end up doing any private work because it all ends up being my stock going through. I'd spent about 80 grand with him last year. And that's for 175 cars I sold. Not to say every single car needed to go into the workshop, but the bulk of those did. So it's just whether or not I end up over prepping and how much margin do you want to ideally be left with? Obviously as much as possible. But at the same time, there's some cars. I've got a Mercedes I've just taken in, and it's basically what I'm going to sell it for. It will be one of those break-even cars. And that'll be the first time I've ever had a break-even car.
Is this your E350?
No, it's a C class.
Okay.
If you've gone sort of 175, 200 cars and you haven't lost on a car yet, and it's going to be your first break-even car, then you've done exceptionally well.
Yeah, I'm not naive to the fact I've done all right. I have done quite well.
Where do you source from? Where do you buy your stock?
Majority of it's auction for the simplicity of it being auction. I will do motorway, I will do car wow, but one, they're just too expensive. Once you add their fee on as well and already overpaying for the car by a huge amount of money, I will only buy if they're local and I happen to get an under offer on something. It will only be, so I'll just chuck a load of bids out, and if I end up with something that sticks, so that Golf GTE that's on my website, that's a motorway car. Everything else on there is sourced either privately or through auction. And I do like the auctions. I won't say the one I'm going to because I don't want more competition. But the auction stock, it's been good to me. That I get a big enough margin that allows me to spend a bit more on it if I have to. If I buy something from the likes of Motorway or CarWow or sometimes private and I've paid a bit more for it than I really wanted to, and then I get it back on the ramp, because there's only so much you can do on the driveway. If I get it back on the ramp and I've only say got £1,000 in that car to start with, where do I go? Do I bother? Do I just try and sell it as a not as good an example and sell it a bit cheaper? Do I warrant spending the money on it? Because I do like to prep my cars before sale, so every car is ready to drive away. I get quite a lot of my customers from further afield. I don't want them traveling 3 or 4 hours and then coming down and say, oh yeah, but you can't get it till Friday next week. I want them to be able to say, I've got a BMW series going out and it's going out and the guy's traveled 3 hours and he's taking it home today.
I think you've sort of answered your own question in terms of prep. I think if you want everything to be ready to go and you want customers to turn up, be happy with it and take it away, I don't think you can over prep a car.
Yeah.
You don't want people to be coming 3 hours on the expectation that they're going to take it away and turn up and find things wrong with it. Our conversion rate is extremely high because we prep them very, very well. And I think that's what if that's what you've been doing and that's the way you want to go about it, I think carry on as you are, as long as you've got the margins there. Once you start cutting corners and leaving wheels, it doesn't work for me.
I suppose what I'm getting at is when I give a car to my workshop, I'll then get the phone call later on saying we've got and it's a list of things, and it's a list as long as your arm. Now, bear in mind, if I'd done all those, it'd be a brand new car. Where do you go? Do you do just the MOT advisories, or do we sometimes leave MOT advisories on there? Do we always have to be a clean sheet? Is it? I mean, I've managed to do obviously quite a good handful of cars without needing to, kind of answering my own question, but I suppose it's down to the customer at the end of the day. Sometimes some people will be like, oh, it's fine, it's got a couple of advisories, but it's expected, it's a used vehicle. Then you get the other customer who's like, it has to be like completely clean. And I suppose you just do what you think is right.
We won't let a car go out with any advisories.
Okay.
We're probably a bit we've got our own workshop here, so we're a bit overzealous maybe on brakes, certainly. We put brakes on almost every car, I would say, or 80%, that's probably. And tyres, most garages will let them go out at 2.5, 3 mil. We're probably a bit more like 4 mil, but we've got it all here, so we're not quite spending as much on the prep. It's a really difficult question because you don't know what the customer's expectations are, but what I would say is customers' expectations at the moment are higher than they've ever been in the time I've been doing it.
Yeah.
We sell very low mileage cars and customers are paying a premium for that. So we make the cars as pretty close to perfect as we possibly can. James has got a slightly different business model, but I'm sure still preps the cars to an extremely high level.
Would you say then that, I mean, for example, recently I've ended up having a car that had quite a bit of prep on it, and then it turns out it did need a full set of brakes on an S3. Would I be better just sourcing those brakes myself and giving them to the garage, or would you think, being the business owner and I've only got one employee and as a valeter, he's not going to do all the other running arounds. Am I better off just spending that little bit extra and using my time better off elsewhere, as opposed to being like, I saved 20 quid on a set of brakes? How?
I'm gonna suggest something here. Put the brakes on, put the price up.
Right.
Especially on something like an S3. Like, ask no. And if somebody goes, why is it £500 more expensive? I've just put 1,800 quid's worth of brakes on this car. Find another one that's better. Good news, you don't have to pay it. This is that. That's what you need to do. Don't be afraid to put your price up. If you spent loads of money on prep, put your price up. This is the only downside with the Auto Trader is they sort of yank you on your price level.
Yeah.
Like if you've got a car that so I've tried to do some rough maths whilst you two have been speaking about like how much you're roughly spending. So you're spending between £500 and £700 per car on prep.
Yeah.
That standard of vehicle, that's not an abnormal amount of money. And it's not over the top either. So I don't think you need to worry about that too much. But obviously you said that you are expanding. So whether that's manageable, because obviously what a lot of people don't realize is when you go from 15 to 30 vehicles, you've got 30 lots of prep. So not only have you got to buy the vehicle, you've got to spend a further £1,000 on it. So you've got to allow sort of 25% extra of this money that you've got together to just get that vehicle prepped and ready. And that's a massive investment without taking into account the fact that you've just bought these vehicles. So there's a lot there to sort of spice. And ideally if you can do it ergonomically on its own, you will save yourself money in the long term. Penny pinching never works. It's always a game that comes and bites you back in the ass. If you buy shit off eBay, it'll come and bite you back in the ass. Like if there's parts that you need to buy second-hand parts, fine. But if you buy cheap shit that isn't from a motor factor, it will sting you. All right. I've seen cracked brakes in the past. I've seen stuff that was come from China and we fitted it and it looked identical, but it's just shit quality. It's made in different weather conditions. It's not as good. So sometimes you just got to eat shit and go, do you know what? I'm going to pay the extra money. I'm going to put the price up and I'm going to forget about it.
I would say I agree with James. If you're outsourcing the mechanicals, I'd let them source all the parts, do all the bits. Obviously you've got warranty on those parts then and work that's been done and whatever.
Yeah. Which has worked out actually.
If you end up getting it in-house and you end up doing your own mechanicals and you've got a service manager or your service and parts manager or whatever, then it's up to you. Then it's your call. But if you're outsourcing, definitely let them do the donkey work. Yeah.
Okay. That's great because that answers the question. It's been playing on my head for ages. I think you saying about that's kind of where you need to be in terms of your average prep spend anyway. That's what I needed to hear. I need to hear from people that have been in the industry for a long time and can say that's quite normal.
We're spending £500-600 on average on every cars that are very, very low mileage, and we're still spending that because by the time you put 4 tires and a set of brakes, even on a bloody Honda Jazz like we'll sell, it's still £400 or £500. So I don't think that's out of the way in terms of prep at all.
Cool. That's just what I needed to hear because it's all well and good. I've got a few friends that do trading as well, but they're all relatively new. So we all kind of just shooting in the dark. We don't know whether it's right, whether it's wrong, all that sort of thing. And so
how much obviously quite a lot of people watch this, but we still talk about margins and stuff. Have you got like a set margin that you are trying to achieve net after everything?
I wouldn't say net. It's more about when I start off. So my gross margin before I buy it, I want it at least 2.5, so that I've actually got enough left in there. And I'm still able to source the cars using that. Some people think that's crazy. You should be aiming way lower. You're never going to buy any stock. But I don't really struggle to find the stock. I struggle to get it quicker than it goes out.
That would be the interesting thing, obviously, when you go from 15 cars to 40 cars, or however many you're going to have. Is we've sort of grown from 15 to 30 to 40. And going a little bit more now, and I'm struggling to buy the stuff, but I'm extremely fussy about what I buy. But I'm struggling like mad this year to get the right kind of stock in. So I think that's going to be a big challenge, is to keep your standards high in terms of what you're buying. I think that's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, God, even watching like BCA, it seems nigh on impossible to actually buy anything from there at the moment. Stuff's going for silly amounts of money. And any other the auction houses, I want to be there. I don't like buying completely blind. Some of them I just can't trust. It seems as though their reports are complete horse. So yeah, which is then the problem is probably takes me on to one of my other questions, which is about staffing.
No. Ready for the next bit.
Well, I suppose the next one then is for me. I'm pretty sure it's what I put, unless I've got this wrong. But staff. Like when, I've taken on a valeter recently, he's still a subcontractor, but he's like permanent for me on site. And that in itself has been amazing because I've now, from what used to be, I'd buy a car in, it'd get delivered to site or I've driven it back to site. And it could be a week or longer before it actually gets to being photographed and online because of the workshop side. Whereas now having the valet here, I say, get that cleaned, get that washed, we'll get it photographed, then it can go into the workshop and so on. I don't like using the BCA images if I bought anything from BCA, and I don't like, because I like my photography, I won't put on half-assed pictures. So Whereas now he's on site, I can do great pictures, still send it to the workshop. When it comes back, give it another rinse down, park it up. It's online, it's done. There's a chance I've already sold it before it's even come out of the workshop. Way better. But the next one is a salesman so that I can be out doing the buy-in. And I don't know when's a good point to take that on. Is it worth doing so soon? That sort of stuff. You're both smiling.
Fucking talk to Theo about this.
James knows why I'm smiling.
Recuse yourself from this conversation.
I'll shut myself off for this bit.
Now, right away, now. Like, you should have done it already. Yeah. And don't, even if it's you offer them in on a subcontractor basis, X amount of money each week, offer them a really aggressive pay packet to get, when you're small, obviously an aggressive pay packet per car. I'll discuss that with you offsite if you want. As to what the best options are. So they need to be hungry as fuck for money, like nasty hungry. Not that it would, ever fall over onto your customers, but I mean about like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, you get a Facebook inquiry, they're going to be all over it like a dog with 7 dicks, like nibble, nibble. That's the kind of person that you want in, and that's what you need now, just before you're about to make this massive jump. You need somebody on there who is almost as hungry as you. And unfortunately, there's no greater currency to make them that hungry than money.
Yeah.
All right. And he'll be there on the valeter's ass, chapping him like, bang, bang. Where's my car? Where's my car? Where's my car? I want to go. That's what you need. It sounds absolutely bonkers, but that's exactly what you need. And you're out there buying, knowing that there's somebody sat in your office as hungry, if not hungrier than you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I think I answered that question myself like a week ago and was like, it's not right. I mean, yesterday, my phone, I was doing everything. My phone was non-stop. Sold 3 cars yesterday, which is great. But I've then like, well, I've got to replace that stock. And that's where I could have been. There's an auction down in Shoreham I could have gone down to last night, and I could have been out buying. I could have bought another 5 cars and had them back in to replace it. And for every car, I haven't paid myself yet. Since I've been doing this, everything's just gone back into the business. How I've been able to grow it so quickly. And if I was able to turn 1 car into 2 cars, that's how I'm going to then fill that pitch that I'm taking on next door to me. Otherwise, I'm going to be stuck just on the same 15 cars for another year. So I have to do it, and I have to be out there buying aggressively, which means the margin might suffer.
Yeah. So go and find someone now. Go on Indeed.com or put something on Facebook or speak to somebody that you know, somebody that wants an opportunity. That it's going to need to be someone that wants an opportunity. Maybe it's a change in their life that they need. Maybe they're a main dealer at the moment, and it will be somebody they'll become a part of your life. So it could be quite a personal relationship. So Theo, the reason why it's different for Theo is obviously him and his dad work together, which is lovely, which is realistically, that's what you'd end up being. It would be like a father-son relationship and unfortunately, whether you like it or not, it becomes intimate because you end up dealing with their personal stuff. They catch a wind of your personal stuff. It's very, very normal. So when it does happen and you have private conversations with them, don't think that it's abnormal. It's not. If you spend more time with these people than you do with your actual partners, it will naturally happen. There's no way for it not to. So it's not weird, just so anyone to clarify. If you have these conversations, it's okay, but be prepared for it. When it does happen, expect it to come. It will come, but it'll be fantastic.
I actually agree with James, which is bizarre because I've always gone against. When it comes to salesmen, we've never had one, but we have grown not very slowly. We've grown every year, but we're at the point where we've reached the sort of top plateau that we can handle. But neither of us particularly want to be striving on into the distance, whereas you seem very hungry to be really getting after it sort of early doors. So I think salesman then is the way, it is the way to do it, unless you've got, obviously my dad does most of the selling. I do a little bit, but I'm mostly buying and advertising and chatting on WhatsApp groups, wasting my time.
Tony's the machine. It's the real machine.
But I think, if you are by yourself to a degree, then if you can get somebody who's been there and done it maybe a little bit, or someone, I would probably go from someone more experienced, wouldn't you, James? If it's
no, fuck
you
no,
wouldn't.
Fuck no. You want someone absolutely fresh that is prepared. The problem you've got is if you get somebody with experience, they'll bring their own habits with them. All right. You don't want their habits. You want them to do what you want them to do. You've obviously done this before. Okay. So you know what you're doing. You get an opportunity to make another version of you. If you get someone in with loads of experience, you will get all the shit that comes with them and all their vices.
Yeah. But do you think if John's going to be really concentrating on getting that new pitch going and getting the new stock in, and
but he's got a couple of months. This is why I said now you've got a couple of months to change things around, get someone in that learns your ways. If you go, right, here's my sale process, here's how to use DealAway, here's how to upload a car on a website, here's how you do a finance thing, bang, then you can go away and you've taught him everything he needs to know, and he'll have watched him sell 10 cars in that meantime, and you can turn around and go, this customer, you did it like that, watch, and before you know it, you've got a tiny little sponge there that knows how to do it your way.
Would you say go for someone that's young and hungry, or someone that's older?
Just someone unexperienced. Just they're like, or maybe someone that's done 6 months in car sales and realised that main dealer isn't for them.
Yeah.
So someone that hasn't done 10 years in the used retail market. That is something that you would avoid with like the plague.
Yeah.
So yeah, because they're normally tarnished and they've had a bad experience somewhere else, so they've got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and they do come with their vices. So it's just a case of if and in your position at the moment, you're growing. You don't want someone to stunt your growth. You don't want someone to come in and go, well, Friday 5 o'clock, thanks very much, cheerio. I've got a family, shit to get on with. You want someone that's going to go there, do you know what? I've got a viewing at 5:30. I'm earning the money tonight. All right. And I'm going to buy myself a fake Rolex on Tuesday. That's the kind of shit that you want. That's the kind of dealer the young dealer that you want to come in. Or, there are people out there that are 30 that have done a certain job for most of their life. And they're like, do you know what? I want to fucking sell cars. That's my passion. I want to go and do it. And they are some of the best car salesmen that I've ever seen. People that have just like flipped their life on the head.
Well, James, that's kind of what happened for me. I'm 33. It was a full change in career. Yeah. That's what I was saying the other day. Is I need another me. Like they have to be another me. But it's finding someone who's as hungry when it's not their own business, isn't it? It's
money. Money makes people hungry as fuck.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah, I think we're pretty clear on that one. I think we can tick that one off the list.
James has won that segment. James has won that segment of the show.
Fuck off, you were recused early. Fucking touch yourself out, put the X no button down. So have you got any questions for us in the meantime?
I don't really think so. No, I don't think so. I feel like I know what I'm doing. I feel like not having too much information from lots of people that have been in the trade for too long has been a good thing, because I've not been able to get prejudged. I've made up my own mind on things. And it seems as though I seem to be doing it okay, because I have been busy. It's not like I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs half the time. There has been stuff going on. The odd thing that comes across is like how I didn't realize I bought the wrong type of car, like a CVT gearbox or a power shift and that sort of stuff. But I think you have to get bitten by those cars to learn and to remember.
I did see that you've got a power shift on your website.
Yeah. I would say it's a bloody brilliant one, though.
Don't be afraid of a power shift.
Yeah.
There's a couple of places up in Essex that are fantastic at $2,000, and you drop it off and they'll drop it back.
Yeah.
No, fine. Don't be afraid of it.
That sort of stuff. So I had a Qashqai last year that was a CVT, and that needed a new gearbox in it. And it's frustrating when the auction house turned around and said, no, tough, like it is what it is, you deal with it. And it does end up being one of those expensive sort of lessons, but they get done. I still managed to make 100 quid on that car in the end after everything. So nice. I still did all right, but it's the headache that you just don't want. And it's the running around dealing. We've got a guy sort of, when I say local, he's in Weymouth. So he's about an hour away from where I am, which isn't too bad. So we got the car over there. The car was still drivable. Anyway, those sorts of things. But yeah, I then sit here and I bought 2 since, but they've both been all right.
Cool. Is the plan to keep the stock profile similar then? Obviously fairly German orientated by the looks of it.
I think it all comes down to that sort of like if I see value there, like I can see that someone's going to look at that car and be like, that is a good price, then that's the stock profile, which I think most dealers try and do. They always try and get value with what it is. Sometimes I don't want a lower mile car because actually it makes it seem expensive for what it is. So, but then you get the flip side of that, whereas like my Mini Coupe, for example, it's an older car with lower miles. That then makes that good value, and it's finding the sweet spots. And I feel like I've got a little bit of a sixth sense for spotting those types of car. But the stock profile, I think most of the stuff here is sort of above the £7,000 mark. And if I'm going to be doubling on the stock, I'm going to need to unfortunately wind it back down to being a little bit cheaper retail, just so I can fill it and then build back up from there. I have got access. Most of my stock, I'd say about 95% of my stock I own outright. And then I have got access to stocking finance as well, which it's quite a cheap stocking finance, which is quite good. And they're very flexible with me. And I have asked for a bit more to be able to then help fund the pitch next door.
Who's that with?
Sandbanks Asset Finance. They're a newer company. My friend actually owns the business, or is partners with one of the owners. And they've been great. I also have Nextgear, but I don't use Nextgear. And the reason why is on the simplicity of that they're just more expensive. So they're more of the backup for if I sort of spend all of the available funds with Sandbanks. I've done my calculations. Anything sort of above 35,000, it actually makes more sense to use Nextgear. Anything under 35,000 makes more sense to use Sandbanks Asset. But at the moment, I'd rather just not have anything on stocking. If I can try and build it without them, that's the way I would like to move forward.
Certainly sounds like you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. So I have some questions, if that's
Sure.
okay. So this Aston Martin that we've got on your website at the moment, I am going to jump it. So that's one of yours then, is it?
That is, yeah.
That's your personal car, not SOR or anything.
That's one of ours.
Okay, cool. So I'm just trying to see if I can share this one with you. So, that's that one there, Badger. Right, lovely bit of kit, very, very nice car. The issue that I've got is obviously, I don't know if you know, but people now have got access to the internet and they can find out all the history of a vehicle about HPI. So obviously what you can, especially with a car like this one, unfortunately they put you in a position where they can see what it's sold for, how many miles it's done, and what the recommended price would be from a dealer.
Yeah.
Did you know about that?
Yeah, if you do motors check, yeah.
Yeah, because obviously these ones now, because obviously it looks, I assume that you've got it as quite a strong price just for the plain and simple reason that it's obviously next door to you. Is that, it's your own vehicle, etc. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okie dokie. And you mentioned that you'd obviously started in 2023, but obviously it says on here on the old interwebs.
So SVM was registered in 2024.
2024.
No, sorry, no, 22. No, so that's where you were getting confused at the beginning. You are right. 22 is when I started doing it from a driveway. 23 is when I registered it. Yes, it's me getting the dates mixed up.
Yeah, and then I've got you registered as the business next door as well.
So I was partners with Ross and we were going to do the car. So he's a motorcycle dealer. And then we partnered up and we were going to do Rotate Automotive. Then that sort of stopped.
Yeah, because that's literally there, isn't it? That's next.
Yeah. So he's my mate on next door. That's right. So to look at it there, you can see. Yeah. So he's then gone into doing sort of higher end performance vehicles as well, more like a toy shop. And then yeah. So that's his separate thing. But we were going to do Rotate Automotive. Then we decided it's better off that we aren't business partners. We keep it as a friendship, and then he does his thing and I do my thing.
Okay, that's cool. Because obviously the biggest, if I was buying an Aston Martin, which I'm not, I would be, or whenever I've purchased any vehicle of any value, most people with a bit of sense, they'll normally do a bit of digging around on the person that owns the business or stuff like that. That would obviously confuse the shit out of me, and I would be like, whoa, what the fuck is going on here? So I assume that when you move to the new site, you're not going to be next door neighbours anymore. Is that right? Or is it?
No. So if you pull the map back up, I'll show you.
Okay, hang on. I will share that one again. I'm almost getting good at this. So I'm guessing you are moving to the end here. Is that right?
So if you see no, so that's Eden's landscaping. So if we go scroll back down again, so you see the pitch where it says SVM Automotive.
That's your tunnel at the moment.
That polytunnel is I'm in there, and you see all of the greenery next door to it, above it.
That one.
All of that. So that doesn't look like that now. All of that is my side part of land as well.
So you're going to have basically this massive area here.
Yes. And then rotate is the blue bit or the other
they're down here, aren't they?
Sort of mid-size one. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool.
That's going to be a cracking site.
It is really, really nice. Yeah.
I'm looking at that, and I'm going to probably say you're going to easily fit 35 cars there in a functional manner.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
You could probably do.
Do you mind me asking how much that's going to be costing you?
Is so all in. So I currently pay 625 for the polytunnel, and I'm going to be paying 500 quid for the pack next door. So where this place is a godsend for me to be able to grow and be profitable because of the overheads can be quite low.
That's exceptional value.
Yeah.
So that's So you're going to have about 11. So it's 1100 all in. Is that right?
Yeah.
And where on that little area are you going to pop your office? Are you going to pop it in one of the corners, are you?
In the corner between sort of the divide of where Eden's section goes in and that hedge that's there. And that's being built on the 6th for next month. So I'm looking forward to that.
It's exciting. Also, it's got pretty decent HGV access. There's no reason why you can't get stuff
delivered.
I
get transporters down here when I get them delivered and stuff. So I think the most I've bought in one hit delivered has only been 5 so far. But I've got a really good transportation company that's sort of quite flexible with me. And the great thing is because his sort of lockup is just down the road, I kind of get a little bit of priority, which is quite nice.
Fortunately, you seem to know quite a lot of people that can help in terms of if you've got a transport company, you've got some friend that's got a funding company and all that sort of thing. You seem to have quite a lot of pieces of the puzzle.
It comes from being, and believe it or not, it's networking through the car world again. So I've had some nice toys in the past, some supercars, and been able to enjoy the people that you meet within that world as well. So I think anyone who is even on the edge about buying a supercar, go and buy one, because the people that you meet along the way will be worth more than the finance payment. So I know it sounds like a silly thing to say there, but
what did you do before all this?
So I was a kitchen designer for quite some time. I was one of the top salespeople within that company, and I earned quite good money through doing that. And then also doing a little bit of investing as well through the stock market. Had enabled me to be able to get to the point where I can then go and buy some nice bits. Admittedly stretched myself. Like it's not like a point where I was like, I can afford that like absolutely fine. I had sleepless nights over earning those kind of cars. But
as with any risk,
but because of those, I've been able to go on lovely supercar trips. The people that you've met have been, they're top 1% people, and usually they're business owners. Like you said with the Aston, whoever buys that, chances are they're going to be quite a successful person. And you that's how you meet those people. And so the person that owns or is part owners with the funding company, that's how I met him. I didn't meet the transportation company through that. That was purely just through being at the auctions and talking to another dealer. But it's all about that. It's just networking. I think the more and more people you can talk to, I think a lot of people in this industry tend to get scared about talking to each other just in case they're going to have them over on something. But actually, I think the more dealers you talk to. Yeah, but now it seems as though we're all there to help each other. I mean, it's very rare that all three of us are going to be in competition with each other at the same time. You might have a BMW 5 Series you're trying to sell, but chances are mine's going to have different mileage, or it's a different colour, or it's a different spec.
You know what? Even if they're on our doorstep, it doesn't matter. We're all trying to earn a couple of quid, go about our business, do a nice thing. A lot of us, it's got to a stage now where some of us go out and we'll have a couple of drinks with each other, even like people that are local. Like, if anything, whatever Joe's done is opened up the world to going, do you know what? Are we really in competition? Not really. Like, how often do we have same colour, same spec, same mileage car, same price? Even if we're next door to each other, even within 50 miles, I can't see it. Like, it's just not it. So why wouldn't we help each other? Why wouldn't we give each other everything that we've got to help out with? And why wouldn't we share it out here? We're just trying to do a good job, So, and the only time that we ever, obviously Joe documents it really well on his podcast. The only time people ever really, really, really get into it is when people are arseholes to us. It's not the other way around. It's it's the people that are so difficult. Their expectations are here, and like the realism of what they're buying is here. They're buying a second-hand vehicle that's been owned by multiple people and driven to multiple different places, and like you don't know what's happened to it, and we're expected to just expect it to go on forever.
Yeah, I've got one at the moment. I've got a customer who's bought a vehicle off of me, and it had done 112,000 miles. It had a clean MOT. Brakes are absolutely fine. He's done 8,000 miles in 4 months, and he expects me to change all his brakes for him because apparently the brakes are now due.
Get fucked.
I'm like, where do I and he's sending me all these complaint emails and just taking up time for something. I've thrown him a bone. I said, I'll give you 200 quid towards it, and this will be the end of it. But it's just the legal side of things is really frustrating. We're not going to change it. We're liable 6 months, but I think that's where so I've got logistics that are on side as well, and they've come into play a couple of times throughout last year, and I'm sure they're going to come into play a few more times as I grow as well.
Yeah, certainly. As you get more cars, you're going to have more problems. That's just
completely. I'd be naive to think I'm not going to have another issue one day.
I think it's just trying to find the most polite way of telling people that they're being difficult and their expectations are wrong. Like, obviously, in our head, we're in the back of our head, we're like, do you know what? Fuck off. I don't need your shit. You're a knob. You're talking to me like shit. It's not okay. But then take a little step back and we'll write an email going, unfortunately, due to wear and tear, your system on your vehicle, sir, you've outrun a usable product. Unfortunately, you are liable to replace it. And we've just got to find a nice way of writing that email. But we're actually sat there with a heart rate of 120 beats a minute, screaming at our fucking computer. That's the realism of our job.
That does bring on one of the questions I forgot to ask when we were talking about FCA. It's about how much the finance company look after the consumer. Like, if he's because he is on finance on that one, he said he's escalating it to his finance company. Now, I'm instantly scared, thinking, they're going to unwind the deal. I've got to buy that car back and that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's because I'm not ever been in the position yet. I don't know how lax it is or how tight they are, and
we'll help.
Sort of stuff.
We'll help with it. And sometimes logistics are very good, but sometimes just ask us. Like, we know we've probably seen most of the stories out there and the way the finance companies treat us. All I can tell you is they will try their arm to bully you and wait for you to fight back. And obviously, but at the same time, as you're selling their product, you've also got to be a bit coy because you want to carry on doing business with them. So you've got to find that happy little balance where you tell them to fuck off, but, behind closed doors, but in a passive aggressive way. If they're being a knob, sometimes you've got to tell them. If they're being unreasonable and the customer's being unreasonable, don't be afraid to write it down in an email or ring one of their reps up and go, do you know what? This is absolutely mental and it's unacceptable. And the fact that you think that you could push this on me when you clearly know that this is not the case because you can't be bothered to deal with the customer is not good for everybody's relationship. Sometimes you just got to go, put a pin in it and go, back to you.
Yeah. And is it worth them losing out when I could write another 200-300 cars for them in the year or whatever?
They won't see it like that because some reps do, and there's the finance companies that I'm with. I'd probably say the reps do actually give a shit, but you will come across ones that do not, and you'll get somebody in a back office that does complaints that's all they deal with all day, so they're jaded as shit and they're not interested in long-term relationships. They're just interested in fixing the problem that's in front of them, and they've got targets to hit. When you end up with that, sometimes you are going to have to push back and then escalate it, but don't be afraid to escalate it. Don't be afraid to go, do you know what? I don't like your response. I'm going to involve your rep and your manager, and realistically, we're going to find a common ground.
Yeah.
But fair. Like I said, we're here to help with that sort of stuff, and we'll always, if we can, we'll always give our help when we can.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, happy with that. So, is there anything else that you want to discuss with us?
I think I'm all right. I think everything's really sort of ticked off for me. It's just, I suppose it's a bit more having reassurance more than anything. That you probably are doing things all right, Jonathan, and keep going.
You are doing all right.
Yeah,
I think you'll be just fine.
Thank you.
I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure you need us. You might have picked up some sort of bits and bobs from us. But
no, I have. I mean,
right.
For like it's being like, come on, stop fucking about and go and get your license, and stop fucking about and going and sorting out like some other bits like staff. That's kind of what I need.
Salesman.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's being pushed into it, and then having someone else just slap you around the face and say, like, come on.
You're not an octopus.
No. And if I can focus, I mean, I hear it all the time when I'm scrolling through Instagram reels when I get a bit bored and I'm just sat there and I'm thinking, I'm listening to these reels that are saying, most business owners end up working too much in the business than on the business. And I feel like I'm definitely falling into that and just I've created myself a job as opposed to a business, even though the money.
I'm very guilty of that.
Yeah. The thing is, you don't want to let it go because no one's going to do it as good as you. And I've not been a business owner before, so you
don't know that though. That's something you don't know. Like I've had salespeople that have walked through my door, and I can hand on heart say they are better car salespeople than me. I thought I was the best there ever was when I first started. I thought I was fucking invincible. All right, and I've had some people walk through my doors, and they have put me to shame. I've watched them out there, and I'm going, fucking get some of that down your neck, and they were brilliant. And people like that will come through your door. If you can survive the test of time, you will get salesmen that will walk through your door that will blow your mind, and you'll be like, do you know what? I don't think I could cope without him. He's that good. And then unfortunately they do leave sometimes. Sometimes they come back, but you do need it. Theo, you look like Jesus is about to go through your window.
Jesus. I'm struggling with the sun today.
I'm not 360 on this podcast.
I know, so I've gone the whole way around.
You look like you've got one of these little gay Instagram filters where you're going to be like, hey guys.
I wish I had one. Fucking hell.
I bet you're very excited for the next phase.
I am. Yeah, massively. I mean, so the office is a 5 meter by 5 meter log cabin. So it's all brand new. It's going to look lovely inside. And being an ex-kitchen designer, I've got a few ideas of how it's going to look on the interior and stuff. And I want that experience. So when people to come to me, I've not just bought a car. I've bought a car and I've had quite a fun time doing it. And that sort of thing. And where, if you do ever come down this way, come and visit, because when you come onto this pitch of land, it's a nice place. Got the pearly gates that open up and it's all lovely. And because they're a landscaping company, it's always beautiful. So I want that experience for people, because these are still run-of-the-mill cars. If they've gone down to Joe Bloggs down the road and viewed a car that's not been washed, not been cleaned, the guy's got spaghetti down his top, whatever, and they've walked in, they thought, oh, the car's a bit crap. Well, we've got the other one to go and see. They come and see me and they think, well, I'm buying this car because look at the place,
And then you'll then be able to command a bit more of a price.
Yeah, which does make sense.
And then you'll be able to, and then you won't have to worry so much about, am I prepping them, this, that, and the other? Because if you're just prepping them, charge the money, like James says, and if you've got a really nice setup down there, then especially at the money you're paying to be there, then you're onto.
Now you've invited us, I want to know what kind of darts board we'd have there.
Oh, I have to put one up when I've got the whiskey though. So the way the new office is going to be, it's going to be a nice, sort of like a picture, like a dark whiskey lounge. That's going to be the vibe. So we can probably put a nice dartboard up.
Theo's got a branded dartboard, and he can send you a link to getting your business logo around the rubber one. If
it's
you want
tremendous,
to do that.
But its productivity is at an all-time low. Now we've got this stuff.
I could have customer of the week that's been the worst one, and we could throw the darts.
Yes, the old voodoo doll.
I've always wanted to do it, but I've never had the opportunity because I don't sell as much as I used to.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to get a customer in front of the darts board in the office and go, right, if I hit a 20, you're paying the asking price. If I miss the 20, or if I play them at a game, you get £200 off or something like that. I've always fancied doing that.
I'll be bankrupt in 2 months.
I do that with one of the coffee shops I go to. I play double or nothing with him. So before I pay, I say, look, flip a coin. If it's yours, then I'll pay double. If it's not, then I get the coffee for free. So it's a similar kind of thing, but a slightly smaller scale.
Darts board in the office, you'll be able to do that. It'd be like, right, I want 150 quid off. We go like, right, throw darts for it. Job done.
You hit a bullseye, you're in.
See, there we go. Look at that. We've just brought some gold to the world, Theo. A new idea for car sales.
There we
Completely pioneered it.
We did an hour of not really helping very much, but
darts for discount.
This is that clickbait. You got to put the title for something right at the end.
You need a darts board. The darts board sell cars.
Yeah, I think we've got it.
Cool. Okay, so I'm pretty happy that we've covered the best that we can. I've had a great time. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast. So would you be kind enough to tell us your website, where we can find you? Are you on YouTube, Instagram? Give us what you got, and then the kind, upstanding young gentleman will put it all in the description so you can go and have a good old perv at your website. Go.
Sure. So it's SVM Automotive, Sierra Victor Mike Automotive, and it's svm.co.uk. Sorry, svmautomotive.co.uk. And the Instagram, which is the only real social media I do, is svm.autos. Annoyingly, someone in Australia had stole the one I actually wanted. And you can find me down in sunny Bournemouth.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Right. I appreciate your time, mate. Thanks very much.
No worries. Thank you.